Good morning, everyone. It is Wednesday, July 27th, and thank you for joining us for this edition of Up to the Minute. My name is Sade Campbell. I'm the Enrollment Communications Manager here at Houston Community College and your host for today. And I'm joined by Benjamin Escobar, who goes by Benji, and he is going to open up by sharing how you all can find the Up to the Minute show.
All right, hello, everybody. Hope everybody's having a great day. So you can find us on the Houston Community College District Facebook page and YouTube, not Houston Community College, but Houston Community College District. And then we're also on Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and HCCTV on our own TV channel at noon, 5, and 10 p.m. Monday through Friday. So catch us on there.
Yes, that is right. Catch us if you can live or catch us on the playback. Well, if you didn't know, today is Small Business Wednesday here on Up to the Minute, and we're featuring, an HCC Business Plan Competition alum, Dr. Luis Mogollon of MOVUS Energy Solutions, he is addressing the shift towards digitalization in the upstream oil and gas industry. Jose will be right back with you, but welcome to the show. You there, Jose?
Thank you very much. I'm so pleased to be here.
Thank you so much for joining us. You will be our second interview with Benji. But first, we're happy to welcome back a frequent guest, Dr. Gosselin, who is an HCC economics professor that's a part of our Academic Center of Excellence. He's going to be talking about how this fall classes will be transformed by using team-based work at our new Katy campus. Welcome back to the show, Richard.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Awesome. Let's first talk about materials you say created with a mini grant from the National Science Foundation and Starting Point.
Right. So this summer I was invited along with a couple of dozen other colleagues from around the country, community college professors and professors teaching at four-year institutions, to do just that, to build some team-based exercises to share on SharePoint, which is hosted at Carrollton College. And that's the work that we've been on. Are you still able to hear me?
Yes, I'm sorry. It's a slight delay. But so how will the face-to-face classes change following the pandemic? Because we're kind of back to normal.
Yeah, right. I mean, and I think that's the best way to say it. We're kind of back to normal, right? Although the figures at the Katy campus do look encouraging. So I just did check one of my classes and it's at 17, which is a good, healthy number. And hopefully we get north of that. But I think the biggest thing, and many professors have already learned this now, that it's not going to be business as usual anymore when we return to the classroom. And what I mean by that is not so much about wearing face masks or any of that kind of thing, but more how we go about our business in the classroom and how we use our class time. And that is through the last 2.5 years of being online, many of us have discovered that even though lecture is still important, it's not any longer the central piece of what it is that we do, and that a lot of prep can take place outside the classroom, and those little mini lectures can be provided there in the learning management system so that we can spend quality time in the classroom getting our hands dirty, doing stuff. And team-based exercises is one way, it's not the only way, to engage students.
That is so true. And I think many people say you're happy about the class of 17, but that's the benefit of coming to a community college, and specifically HCC, is that we have those small class sizes so that you can have more interactions with your professors. I'm gonna go a little bit off script. Now we talk about team-based learning. It's a running joke with higher ed and students, and you get on the team and maybe one person's doing all the work and everyone is a part of it. What's your advice to students when they have to be a part of a team project?
Right. Well, it's not so much just the advice to students, but more advice to professors, because I think students are just, at the mercy of how the professors set these things up, right? But I would say, to answer your question directly, one, take it seriously, because the work that you do in that exercise sometimes can be much more meaningful than some of the work that you do on your own. And the ability to be able to communicate with the rest of your colleagues and to see other vantage points, be able to see how a problem can be looked at in a different light. But I think it's really incumbent upon the professor to set these problems up in such a way that it prevents the very thing that you're talking about, which is shirking, right? Having a type A personality sort of take over a group activity and be dominant. And so that was one of the things that we were instructed to do. We actually spent 2 Zoom meetings, just like we have right now, we're in Zoom, but they were 3 hours long each, discussing specifically how you prevent those things from happening. And so one way is that everybody's got a job. Everybody has something they've got to do. So somebody's got to be the recorder that is recording the activity that is taking place during the group activity. That's their responsibility to keep a transcript. And then another person's job is the report out person. That's the person who actually reports out on the conclusions of the group and their quote unquote solution to a problem that's been posed. And then you also have another person that's the fact checker. So when you have each of those duties and responsibilities laid out, it's a little bit harder to run and hide, right? But yeah, you're certainly right about that. Poorly planned team-based activities can go south in a hurry. And sometimes students can try to be anonymous and not be seen. And I think the kind of activities that we've designed, not just myself, but the rest of the 24 faculty members who participated in this little mini grant were successful in doing that. In fact, mine are almost done. I'm putting some finishing touches on them from the feedback that I've been getting from the principal investigators.
I love to hear that there was so much intentionality around how you all planned these team-based activities. So tell us a little bit about some examples of the activities that are connected to more real-world applications.
Sure. So we tried to do, it wasn't a requirement, but we tried to do some that were microeconomics and some that were macroeconomics. And so one of the ones that I focused on was a contemporary issue for macro, and then in micro, a contemporary issue for micro, right? So the contemporary issue for macro was entitled Beat Inflation Now, right? You can't get any more contemporary than that, right? And so it deals specifically with I-bonds, which are these specific bonds that have been created by the Department of the Treasury to help shield investors from the ravages of inflation. That turns out all is not a bed of roses with these I-bonds, but that's the whole point of the exercise, that it can provide some modicum of protection. And it presents students with various different scenarios in which they're to rank the quality of protection that you're receiving from these I-bonds. So that's one. And I kind of like that Beat Inflation Now exercise. That was a lot of fun. I still need to work on it. There's some tweaks that need to be made to help professors to use it. And that's sort of the key, to make sure that the debrief is good. The one on the microeconomic side is called Airbnb Entrepreneurs. And so this is kind of cool because it puts students, in the driver's seat as an entrepreneur. So they're, the following scenario is that this student is an entrepreneur and owns 5 Airbnb cottages on a lake resort property and has a mortgage on them, and of course has maintenance and upkeep that has to go on with the Airbnb. And so all of a sudden a recession hits and rents are falling. What's the lowest rent that they would receive? And you walk through these various different scenarios, and it allows students to really think about these things critically, because that's a very real world kind of a problem. And those are the kinds that students like. And in fact, one of the pieces of advice that we got building these team-based exercises is to really avoid the temptation of starting off with abstractions. That's a big turnoff with students. Students want to see something concrete that they can actually visualize themselves doing when they leave. And one of my things that I've really sort of tried to impress upon my colleagues and anybody that is willing to listen is that we got to make sure that when our students graduate from HCC, that they graduate with readily saleable and marketable skills. And they want to feel like that what they're studying is relevant, right?
That is awesome. And those are real world applications. When you think about all of the master classes that are on Instagram and the social content that's coming out, even around inflation, those exercises are spot on. And I know that is something that will connect to students. Fall registration is open, and it sounds like an incredible opportunity to do exactly what students say they want, which is like applicable learning opportunities, specifically out at our new Katy campus that everyone should go take a visit. It's incredible. I want to thank Richard Gosselin, HCC economic professor from the Academic Center of Excellence, coming on to let everyone know about the opportunities in his program and our new Katy campus. We'll have the information posted after the show. Thanks so much for joining us, Richard.
Thanks for having me. Have a great day.
You too. Benji, I'm kicking it over to you.
Awesome. So today we have Dr. Jose Luis Mogollon, Managing Director of MOVUS Energy Solutions. So welcome, Dr. Mogollon. Let's begin with you giving us a brief description of MOVUS Energy.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Well, MOVUS Energy Solution is a startup that we created to address the paradigm of the shift toward digitalization, specifically in the upstream oil and gas sector, and the challenge of net zero CO2 emission. So that includes project execution, advising, developing proprietary software, and training. So we understand the need to leverage digitalization to increase the efficiency of the technical processes, reduce the administrative costs, and position for future in stable markets.
Okay. So I heard that you entered the HCC Business Plan Competition. How did that happen?
Well, I have like 30 plus year experience on as an engineer and scientist, but turning idea into business is not a straight process. So coming from a family of entrepreneurs and work on global service company, I knew the need of systematic approach. So I came to the HCC Center for Entrepreneurship to help me getting a robust plan of action to develop my business. So I took the virtual small business to say serious, and that gave me enough element to apply to the competition. And then I got selected among a number of applications. Then in the competition, I got training and I got advising. I have two coaches that were wonderful because they challenged what I was doing. And in parallel, I was taking the on-site small business success series at the Westheimer campus. That was great training.
And so how did the competition help you? What did you get out of it?
Well, the whole process of the competition, it is not developing a theoretical plan. It is a real life exercise. It was progressing for months about my company. So each training session helped me to progress through the plan, different aspects of the plan. I wrote the assumption and my advisor reviewed it. And they give me feedback. Their feedback was wonderful to, for example, improve my pitch and to define better the customers. Actually, they making question, they help me to expand the type of customer that I need to target. So basically the competition gave me a stronger, more robust written plan.
So can you tell us more about this solution that you're coming up with, like the problem that you're solving regarding CO2 emissions? How does that underground CO2 storage work, and why it's that kind of storage important for the communities and globally?
Sure. Well, the problem is that the human activities, domestic, industrial, are increasing the CO2 concentration in the atmosphere. And that is causing an increase on the global average temperature of the planet. The consequence of that, it is that the polar caps are melting at a faster rate. There are more hurricanes, tornadoes. The sea level can increase. That will cause flooding of coastal cities or a different area. We need to think, we need to be aware that just the USA is emitting 5 to 6 gigatons of CO2 every year. And a gigaton, it is 1,000 million tons. And we know that tons are kilograms.
Mm-hmm. See, we're losing a little bit of the signal there. Okay, well, let's see if...
So thousands of millions of kilograms. Yeah, we need to stop the CO2 going to the atmosphere. And one way to do that, it is capture at the source, like in a power plant, pipe it to a place, and then inject that deep on the ground to a reservoir that is sealed, so the CO2 will remain there hundreds, thousands years without harming the atmosphere.
This is a very interesting concept. This is something that I've never heard before, and it's very interesting that we would just grab the CO2 and put it in containers underground. So how is MOVUS Energy Solutions differentiated from other competitors in solving these problems and meeting the market need?
Well, basically, what we do is that we can select the best reservoir for them. We design the process on how they are going to inject the CO2 into the reservoir that is on the ground, and we also help with the monitoring. And for that, we just use a proprietary software suite that we develop. And our customers are basically stationary CO2 emitters like power plant, chemical plants, food processors, oil and gas producers. So that software suite speed the process and reduce the cost of going from the idea to the design and the monitoring of the process to storage the CO2 on the ground.
So the CO2 problem is very concerning. What we have going on today, like for example, we're noticing very high temperatures happening, especially this summer here in Houston. We had a whole week that was just over 100 degrees every single day, and I've noticed how my electricity bill has gone up because the AC is just running all day. What do you think are other ways that we can do to like reduce these CO2 emissions as a whole human race? What can we do?
Well, okay, a lot of things that we can do, from the individual to the organizations, up to the government, to the nation, and to the plant. But let's start with the individual. We need to use a more rational use of the resources. We need to do that. And we to go for more efficient building, for example. Better isolation and that kind of thing. And then there are a number of solutions for the CO2, like increasing the area of the forest, like using the CO2 to produce concrete or other products. and using CO2, for example, to increase oil production in a more efficient way and keeping the CO2 stored in the place that was occupied by the oil. So we need to increase the efficiency of all time of process. For example, we are also working on how to reduce the CO2 emission of water flooding by optimizing with smart algorithms the process. And this is something that we have been working for quite a few years already.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Jose Luis Mogollon, Managing Director of MOVUS Energy Solutions. We'll have your posts on after the show. So thank you so much for being here and sharing your knowledge with us.
Thank you very much. It was my pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Benji, we're moving right on to news, events, and announcements. One first up for all HCC faculty and staff, convocation registration has opened. HCC has opened its registration for our fall 2022 convocation with the theme of harnessing our entrepreneurial capacity. It'll offer 2 sessions at our Stafford campus, and bus transportation will be provided from 3 campuses to get all of our faculty and staff from across the city there. And the first 500 to sign up will receive a limited copy, of our speaker's mindset book. Convocation will happen on Friday, August 19th at the Stafford Center. Not our Stafford campus, the Stafford Center, right in front of our Stafford campus. And there will be a morning and afternoon session. We'll have information posted after the show, for the pause. Benji, you want to tell everyone about our showcase that's ongoing?
Yeah, so we have the Media Arts Student Showcase for Spring 2022. The spring compilation screening includes student projects from filmmaking, which is my department, audio recording technology, and music business programs. This will go through August 15th on YouTube. Registration is not needed, and we'll have more info on the post after the show.
All right. For those who may not have heard of this, there's a spin on baby showers to business showers. Let's celebrate new businesses. There will be a women's business shower with the theme of Open for Business, and it will celebrate women entrepreneurs. It'll be happening Friday, August 5th from 9 a.m. to noon at our Central Campus and highlight women entrepreneurs program. The event includes food, music, discussion panels, and guest speakers from HCC's Goldman Sachs and Houston MBDA Business Center. Registration info will be posted after the show as well.
You can make all the difference. Invest in Houston's future by supporting HCC Foundation scholarships. There are countless examples of students who have graduated and moved on to brighter futures because of such generous donations from faculty and staff. We'll have a link in our post after the show if you're very interested in that.
Yes, encourage everyone to check out how to support our students. And one of the ways that that support makes possible is our free degree program called Eagle Promise. That's right, Eagle Promise is back, and qualifying students who have just graduated from high school this spring may qualify to receive their degree for free at HCC. Qualifying students' support will cover tuition, fees, and books for each semester. Information will be posted after the show so that you can share that with a new high school grad, or if you're a new high school grad watching.
Yeah, and share that with them because fall registration is also ongoing. So while you get your free degree, also sign up for the classes. So fall 2022 registration is now ongoing. The course options are still online anytime. It's what it sounds. You go do your classes online at any time. Then you have online on a schedule where you meet over a Zoom meeting or depending on the professor, but they choose what type of video chat like system they use, and you'll do it on a schedule. Then you have hybrid, where it's a little bit in person and a little bit online. Then you have the traditional in person, which is the way I prefer, but I kind of got used to online a little bit. But in person is for me definitely the way to go. And then you also have hybrid lab, which is you do some in person, but you do your lab depending on how the professor chooses, online or in person. So for registration, please visit hccs.edu/apply. Do not delay this because classes are getting taken up left and right. So please go ahead and do this soon.
I love your appeals from one student to another student with urgency because classes are filling up, because we talked about us having smaller class sizes here at HCC. So definitely want to get the classes that work for your degree plan, your schedule, and your life responsibilities. Well, that leads us into what people have to look forward to the rest of this week on Up to the Minute. On Thursday, we'll have Family Fun Day, as we always do. It will feature Methodist Hospital in Sugarland, which is hosting a community-wide baby shower. We talked about business showers earlier. Now we're going to have on someone about a community-wide baby shower. And later this week for Film Friday, we will speak to someone from Katy, who is a member of the cast of the Netflix series Ozark. Being held for a shining light. Our guest is being held as a shining light on the Down syndrome acting community. That sounds so incredibly intriguing. So be sure to tune in the rest of this week. We thank you for joining us on Up to the Minute, and we will see you next time.